Welcome to the first edition of the Hoel Roofing and Remodeling podcast. Today is just going to be me and my lovely wife, Emily, and we're just going to kind of talk about our story and what got us in the roofing space and why we started our own podcast, why we started our own roofing company. So I just want this podcast to, long term, we just want to bring in local people, local business owners, let them talk of what makes them tick, why they do what they do. And also we're going to bring in some of the local events that we sponsor and stuff like that. I've already lined up a few guests for some of the charity work that we do here at Hoel Roofing and Remodeling. So let me go ahead and introduce my lovely bride. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Emily.
A quick background. I was raised, graduated here from Rushville, and she went to Centerville and grew up over by Richmond and Centerville area.
So we've been married going on this year in July. It will be
our 12th year.
12 years. So we have 3 kids. Rhett is 7, Reagan is 6, and Riley is 4. So we're full-time parents as long as full-time business owners. So we're constantly on the go, busy. So
yeah. So let's just go ahead and kick off how I kind of got into this space. And, one thing that you'll probably hear me talk about quite a bit is Dave Ramsey. He's been a big influencer. He's been a mentor from afar and actually worked for him for about a year. So we got married. We started the Dave Ramsey debt snowball stuff. They're the Financial Peace University class. We led at our local church at that time. And we really bought into that program. And poor Emily here, she signed up to be a stay-at-home mom. That was how I sold her on the program. And she did that for a little bit. So we start doing that. And then I kind of woke up. I had been listening to Dave for several years, reading leadership books, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of woke up and I'm like, I was doing environmental consulting, and I knew it wasn't my purpose in life. It had paid the bills. There was a time for that, but it was a time for more. So I remember I just wanted to find a job for straight commission, because if I worked my tail off, I wanted to be able to provide so Emily could stay home. At that time, she was pregnant with Rhett. Maybe he'd already had Rhett. So he was just a baby. So we decided that. I answered an ad on Craigslist and interviewed with a gentleman by the name of George Fitzgerald. Some of you guys will know him. He was a sales manager for a couple of the bigger roofing companies in Indy for several years. So interview with George, and once again, kind of going back to that Dave Ramsey thing, he was a Dave Ramsey fan, and we instantly connected, and I knew that I was going to go work for that guy. So kind of, I guess, talk a little bit about that beginning when I first got into roofing space, selling for someone else, from your perspective as a wife and as a mom to, a few-month-old baby.
I mean, when he told me he was going to go and meet a guy where he's answering an ad off of Craigslist, kind of red flags go up. You're like, that kind of sounds sketchy, but okay. So he went and you met with George prior to me. So he met with him, and then one night we went and met him with Rhett in the office, and I just had a good feeling about it when I met him. So I'm like, all right, let's just try it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? That just kind of catapulted us to where we are today, because if he'd never answered that ad, we wouldn't have even known anything about roofing. And it's amazing, when we first started out, you didn't know much about roofing at all. I
didn't know anything about roofing.
So it's amazing how far you can come of not knowing anything to where we're at now. And then worked for them for I don't know how long.
Talk a little bit about the hustle and grind. For me, when I got started in the business, because some people are watching us, and I actually just ran into a customer last night, and he was one of the first gentlemen that we did a roof for, owning their own business, and he was like, man, you guys have really grown. And I mean, I get it now. We've got 13, 14 company vehicles running around. Yeah, like some people look at like it was overnight success, but what a lot of people don't realize is we filed that LLC over 5 years ago to get this started. So it for sure hasn't been an overnight success. But I guess talk a little bit about whenever, like I said, the hours I put in, from your perspective, as my wife and, as a new mother to little Rhett.
He was gone from a lot of times from sun up to sundown. He was managing these builds, going to check on them, and then he had, when people got home at night, having appointments so he could sell more jobs. So he had more money coming in. So it was just constantly like he would pop in and pop out, and he was work, which, I mean, that's kind of his MO anyways. That gets him going. He's constantly busybody, loves to just kind of be doing something all the time. So that wasn't out of his ordinary, but, I'm at home raising our son, and he's providing for us, which I appreciate. But, when you feel like you're putting in all these long hours and caring about the customer more than the company that has the name on the door, something just triggers in you that you decide, you know what, something's got to change. When I feel like I care more about my customers right now, that just lights that spark of I'm just going to do it on my own. And he kind of had that thought for a while, and it's really scary in the beginning to think about, I'm just going to jump in and do this all on my own. I'm not going to have anything to fall back on, which we've always been financially wise since we were in the Dave Ramsey, since we got married. But it's still scary to know that you are your sole provider. You're the one that it rises and falls on if you fail or succeed. So that he talked about it for a long time, and I finally, after another company, multiple moves, a job, total job change as far as like the industry, it wasn't even remotely close, and then us moving back into to Indiana. Finally, I just had that piece about it of, yep, this is what we need to do, and this is where we need to go, and let's just do it. There's just that moment of knowing that, yep, this is the right time. And if you've ever been there, and if you've ever had that big decision you've got to make, and you just have that piece about it, you will understand what I'm talking about. So,
well, and there's no reason not to be really honest and upfront. We left that first roofing company. I went to go work for Dave Ramsey. I'm kind of one of them guys, if I say I'm going to do it or I want to do it, I have to go try it. Loved working down there. The team was amazing. Still have several friends that I communicate with weekly or monthly from the team down there. But Dave always says, don't run from something, run to something. And we had, when we moved down there, Reagan was 10, 12 days old. Rhett was a year and a half.
Yep.
So, we moved down there not really knowing we didn't have any family down there, met some really good people, but it didn't take me too long to realize I wasn't made to sit in an office all day. And I'll never forget the day that I told my Tennessee mom, Melissa, that we were going back to Indiana to start a roofing company, and she's like, you were like a bull in a china shop. She's like, we love you, and I hate to say this, but I knew this was coming. And so we packed up, came back. Let me just be real honest, and I got really dumb here, and I said, you know what, I'm going to run to Texas. I'm going to sell hurricane roofs through the winter. Well, that lasts like 3 days, and I called you, and I was like, hey, I'm on my way home. And I always remember you saying, when will you be home? And I'm like, I'm stopping for fuel and food. That's it. And got back home. We put the house on the market. Tennessee, had to do a few things. Got it listed. Came back home, and filed the LLC practically right away, and the house just kept dragging on to close, and we had a ton of equity in that. And honestly, I had to go get a job, like to pay the bills, what few bills we had. Like I had to get a job, and I went back and I got back in the roofing sales because that's what I knew, and I just had that. I wanted more, and I thought, well, if I switch companies, maybe this one will care for you more, and this and that, and I guess, I mean, so we went through that year, and then little Riley was born, and I mean, I remember sitting on the couch, Emily's nursing Riley. I mean, she's days old. There's no way she's 2 weeks old. And we had talked, and she said we had to have a number. If I remember right, you said we had to have like 20,000 saved, but I can't remember the exact number. And we didn't have that saved. However, we had, since we moved back from Tennessee, we had bought a house, and since we closed on a house in Tennessee, we had our house free and clear. So we went ahead and I'll just never forget, Emily's like, do it. And I looked at her and I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yes. And I'll never forget, she's like, it's to the point that you care more about the customers than the company you're working for, because they were my customers, you know, and I truly meant that. Like, I remember that one guy called me at 5 a.m. with an issue, and I can't remember what the issue was, but I remember you're like, are you serious? Your phone's going off? And it was a customer at 5 a.m. calling me about something. And so we just, you know, we decided, and I mean, you look at our team now, and we're very fortunate and very blessed. But we started this to I just wanted to provide for my family better. I wanted to give them opportunities that I didn't have. You know, I guess you always want more. But if you would tell me that we would be sitting here 5 years later, with a phenomenal team, any given day, including, you know, subcontractors, we've got 30, 40 people working for us. It's a little humbling. And it's kind of funny because we were scared 5 years ago, 3, 4 years ago, when we actually like started the business. But now we got payroll we had to meet every week, and it's just a different fear and, you know, a different problem to have, you know, if we're being real raw and, you know, real honest here.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, if you think about it too much, it'll overwhelm you and scare you even more. But it also is awesome that we get the opportunity to meet different homeowners, meet different team members as we grow, and add on to our team. And it's just, the opportunities are great, and where we're going, where we want to take it, and then where we've already kind of taken it is just amazing. So, and
you know, I mean, it's truly it's a lot of fun. Our kids are very involved, and we work a lot of hours. However, like, our kids are around here. You may have heard Riley in the background during this podcast. You know, she's here today. She hasn't went back to school quite yet. So it's a lot of fun. And real quick in business, if you're going to be successful, it's got to go from the me mentality to the team mentality. And I say this a lot of times when I meet with the team, that I'm humbled that they choose to work with us. It's with us. It's not for us, because that's how we look at them. Like, we love them as a person, as a family. You know, this past year we've welcomed 2 new babies. We've helped a girl go through a divorce. We just helped another team member lose her dad. So being a business owner sure isn't easy some days, but for sure it's fun when you can hire somebody and they're excited to come to work. And Adam is behind the scenes here, but, you know, he came back and from doing a video one time for another local business, and he's like, man, I love that I get to do this. And that means a lot to us, because some days for us, it feels like when you have to deal with customers that don't want to pay and stuff like that, that it's like, man, why am I doing so much when I could do less jobs and, not have as much headaches at the end of the day. So just on that, we have an awesome team, and I look forward because I'm actually going to bring several of them on the podcast over the next few months, and I just want to talk with them, and just, hear their story and see, how their lives have changed. Because one thing that you'll see, we're very focused on the community. We do, we donate a lot. Whenever somebody needs help, like they know to call us if it's the Boys and Girls Club or, a sports team or whatever that is. So I guess tell them a little bit about some of the community give back that we do, if you would.
One that we just recently talked to classes that we sponsor for, it's the financial piece version for high school students. What is that called? What do we call
Foundations of Personal Finance.
Yes, so we just went and met with the students that take those classes that we sponsor, and that just helps them prior to graduating kind of understand finances a little bit, kind of goes over budgeting, why you shouldn't go into debt, how you can, buy used stuff, set yourself up for success. And it's a lot of them do not have that prior to, and I'm not saying all of them don't have good examples from their parents or grandparents on how to spend money, but just them seeing it from another aspect and of us coming in and explaining, this is how we did it, this is why we do it, and showing them that it can be done. And you don't have to get out of high school and get in a bunch of debt. And if you're not ready for college, don't go to college. Don't go into debt $40,000, $50,000 if you do not know what you want to do. And I kind of encourage them because I kind of wrestled with that when I was getting out of high school. Like, I felt like all my friends had their whole lives figured out, and I was staying back, going to Ivy Tech, and didn't have my life figured out, and I felt like I was failing. Well, now that I'm 33 years old, I look back and I'm 18-year-old me shouldn't have had it all figured out because I still don't have it all figured out. So I try to tell my side of the story as far as encouraging them because I know other students probably feel that way too. And just feeling like you're getting left behind never feels great. But I feel like once I explain how I felt, that might encourage someone else to stay behind and go to Ivy Tech, IU East, get your prereqs knocked out of the way if you're still teetering on deciding what you want to do in life. And then we encourage them, hey, we're in the trades too. If you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. Learn a trade. Make money doing that. There's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty and learning how to weld or be a plumber, electrician, anything like that. So I always enjoy doing that because seeing local or students that are going to be out in our community not too long and kind of encouraging them, and then them being able to ask us questions is always helpful to me, to that kind of that why of like, because every day you kind of get kicked in the nuts. I mean, sorry for my language, but
wow, you said something inappropriate before I did.
I mean, it just feels like that. I mean, you just wake up and you're like, why am I doing this again? But when we go and have those visits, it's like, this is why we're doing what we're doing, so that they have these opportunities and we can kind of help them. So that's one of our give backs. We just, our daughter participated in the
food pantry
drive for Princess and Prince for the parade in November, the Christmas parade. They have it in November. So my husband went a little overboard and just kind of took that. He's like, we're gonna do this. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. Hey, so we loaded our Equipter up, and if you don't know what Equipter is, it's a trailer that the lid folds down, and so we loaded that thing
It's
up.
a really fancy roofing dump trailer.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to describe it for you.
So I think the volunteers at the food pantry were really shocked when we backed that bad boy in there and we opened the lid up.
I think if my math was right, a third of the food came from Reagan. And we had our team. It was so cool to see our team show up with canned goods and a lot of friends and family. And I'm part of a mastermind revolt that I'm sure will be brought up multiple times on this podcast. And several of them guys stepped up and donated to help Little Reagan out. So that was a lot of fun. Some other things, like I said, Boys and Girls Club. We try to sponsor some sports teams too.
FFA.
Yeah, FFA. Mr. Orm knows anytime they need something, they give us a call that we're there for them. And I guess I'll kind of like tie that in, like 4-H and FFA. We're always at the 4-H auction. We've been buying 4-H animals long before we ever owned a roofing company. But one thing for me, I want to give back to charities and organizations that changed my life and put me on the path that fortunately I'm on. Because we all do stupid stuff, and some pay the price worse than others. But 4-H FFA, it's kind of cool how it all like circles back around, because my 4-H advisor, she literally works next door, and I chat with her every once in a while. And, I just got a chance to chat with her probably a month ago, and she was like, man, I'm so proud of you, what you guys are building. And I said, I appreciate that. But I said, I also appreciate what you did for me for 10 years, leading the kid that didn't want to listen in 4-H, and especially Mr. Orm and FFA, because, at that age we're high school boys and we know everything, and adults don't know anything. So, thank you to them organizations for all they do in our rural communities. So
Right now I can't think of anything else that stands out.
Yeah, I mean, we do a filter of hope.
We did
more for kids.
To the hospital's pedal
Cancer drive. Cancer
so
thing.
Brian's cause. We try to help them out. Any way that we can kind of help out and support our community, because we love Rush County and we want to support them in any way we can. So,
and we go above and beyond just Rush County. One of the high schools we sponsor is Connorsville. We've sponsored that class in Knightstown. We sponsored the class in North and South Decatur too. So, I mean, what we want to do is just give back to that community that gives so much to us. And we kind of work all over Central and East Central Indiana, but the base and our hub is out of Rushville here. And a lot of our work is right here. So we just want to give back, and it's in our DNA as our company of giving back, and if that's giving back to our community, pouring into our team, whatever that is at the end of the day, that's what we like to do. So what else you got there, boss lady?
This is all new to me, the whole podcast thing. So I'm looking forward to see where you kind of take it, being a guest speaker on here, coming out of my shell a little bit. We've been doing Fearless 44, so doing the lives. So if I can do that, I can do a podcast. So
you're doing really good, and this is my first podcast that's videoed like this. We've been a guest on a few that were, videoed, and we had to sit in front of a computer, but not with Adam that's got the camera in our face and all that kind of stuff. But you did a great job, and I want to thank you guys for your time of watching this, and we're just going to continue to do this. Right now we're probably going to do it, we're going to drop 2 a month, and we'll just kind of see where it goes from there, and just have guests, and hopefully bring value back to our community and help promote events in our community, and make it a positive for our community. And I'll have my lovely bride back, and we'll continue to share some more of our stories. We'll get honest, and as my buddy Eric O says, we'll be authentic about some struggles and stuff like that. And I actually know that one of the next podcasts we're going to do is going to be with one of our sales reps, Chris, and he's really honest and open about some of his past struggles, and he's the reason I get up every day, because he has had he's got a pretty neat story, and he will tell us that working for us has changed his life, and we just given him the opportunity. He's come in and worked his tail off, and he's the one that's changed his life. So until next time, appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you soon.
Thanks, guys.